The power of holding on when everything says let go. Sometimes, strength doesn't roar. It doesn't scream through clenched fists or echo in brave speeches. Sometimes, strength is quiet. It's a whisper in the back of your mind at 2 a.m. when your world is crumbling. Just breathe. One more minute. One more step. That's courage. That's power. Real strength shows itself not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. When you're crying in the shower, but still wake up and try again. When your hands are trembling, but you keep holding on. When everything in you wants to run, and you stay. That is astonishing. Never forget this. You've survived every single bad day in your life. Every heartbreak. Every betrayal. Every moment that felt like it would swallow you whole. You're still here. And that's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's you. You're the reason you're still breathing. You're the one who wiped your tears, got out of bed, and tried again and again. The world may not clap for you. People may not see your invisible battles. But know this, there is a quiet kind of heroism in surviving, in choosing to stay alive and stay hopeful, even when life has shown you its sharpest edges. And if you're in pain right now, if the weight feels unbearable, please don't let go. The breakthrough always comes after the breakdown. The sunrise always follows the darkest part of the night. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of this storm. Stronger, wiser, softer but unbreakable. Pain is not a punishment. It's a passage. And though it hurts, it's shaping something extraordinary in you. You're not breaking, you're becoming. So breathe. Even if your chest is tight and the tears won't stop, breathe. Even if your hands are shaking and your hope feels thin, breathe. Even if no one understands, and your heart feels so alone, breathe. You're doing better than you think. You're carrying more than anyone knows. And you're building something. Quietly, slowly, beautifully inside yourself. Never give up on a dream just because it feels hard right now. Never let go of your light just because someone else couldn't see it. Never stop believing in the person you're becoming. Because that person is powerful. That person is rare. That person is you. And you, my friend, are nothing short of a miracle. Your past is not your final chapter. There's something no one tells you when you feel broken. You are still allowed to begin again. Not just once, but as many times as it takes. You can reinvent yourself. You can outgrow who you used to be. You can shed the weight of your past like a skin you no longer belong in. Yes, you made mistakes. You trusted the wrong people. You stayed too long in the wrong places. You doubted yourself when you should have fought. You tolerated pain thinking it was love. You lost time, lost energy, maybe even lost yourself. But listen closely. None of that disqualifies you from building a beautiful life. None of that stains your future. None of that defines your worth. You are not your past. You are not your regrets. You are not the pain they caused, nor the dreams that slipped away. You are what you choose next. Do you know how powerful that is? Right now, you have the chance to become someone new. Someone stronger. Someone softer. Someone who has looked at the wreckage of who they used to be and said, I will rise anyway. That is not weakness. That is divine resilience. You don't need permission to begin again. You don't need validation from those who once misunderstood you. You don't need to explain your growth to people still trapped in who you used to be. This is your life. This is your story. And no one else gets to hold the pen anymore. So forgive yourself. Let go of the guilt, the shame, the inner voice that says you're not enough. That voice is a liar. It was born from pain, not truth. You are enough. Even in your brokenness. Even in your uncertainty. Even when you don't feel like it, especially then. You have survived versions of yourself that you never thought you'd escape. And now, you get to choose what comes next. Take the lesson, not the wound. Take the strength, not the bitterness. Take the wisdom, not the weight. Become the person who walks away from the fire without burning others. Become the person who knows that falling isn't failure, staying down is. Become the person who starts over, again and again. Not because life is easy, but because you are relentless. Let today be the day you say, I will no longer carry what broke me. I am here to build something new. Because you deserve that. Because it's never too late. Because there is a version of you peaceful, powerful, proud waiting on the other side of this choice. And maybe, just maybe, the universe has been breaking things apart. Not to punish you, but to rebuild you better. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are becoming. And that is something to be deeply proud of. You're not behind. You're right on time. Let's pause for a second. Breathe. Feel that? That's the sound of your heart still beating, your lungs still pulling in breath, your soul still quietly believing in something more, even if you're not sure what that is yet. You're alive. And that means you're not too late. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be. I know the world loves to rush you. It celebrates the 25-year-old millionaires, the teenage prodigies, the ones who made it young. As if growth on any other timeline is failure. But they forget something important. Flowers don't all bloom at the same time. The cherry tree bursts early. The oak waits for years before it even thinks about blooming. Both are stunning. Both serve a purpose. Both are perfectly timed. So are you. You're not slow. You're not lazy. You're not falling behind some invisible schedule that was never meant for your soul. You are becoming. In your own way. At your own speed. In your own rhythm. That job you didn't get? Maybe it was saving you. That relationship that ended? Maybe it was freeing you. That delay, that detour, that heartbreak, it wasn't punishment. It was preparation. You're being shaped. Refined. Softened where you were too hard. Strengthened where you were too fragile. You are not where you started. Even if it feels like you're still stuck, look deeper. You've grown invisible roots. You've endured quiet winters. You've healed in silence. That matters. Because one day, someone will look at you and only see the blossom. But they'll never know how long you waited to bloom. They won't see the nights you cried quietly. They won't feel the weight of your silence, your doubts, your fears that whispered, "It's too late for me." But you'll know. And that knowledge? That journey? That slow becoming? That's your power. You're not late. You're being prepared for something that takes time. And maybe the reason your dream hasn't happened yet is because it's bigger than you imagined. Because you're meant for more than just success. You're meant for depth. For soul. For real, lasting transformation. Stop measuring your life by the timelines of others. Stop comparing your process to someone else's highlight reel. Their path is not your path. Their timing is not your timing. Their purpose is not your purpose. You are not behind. You are building something real. And real things take time. So breathe. Rest. Trust the slow burn of becoming. It's okay to move gently. It's okay to take breaks. It's okay to not have all the answers. You are allowed to be a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time. You are allowed to be here exactly where you are and still believe in where you're going. One day, it will all make sense. The delays. The doubts. The detours. They weren't detours at all. They were directions. And when it clicks, when everything finally lines up in a way that leaves you speechless, you'll look back and whisper to yourself, I was never behind. I was being guided. All along. You don't have to pretend you're okay. You don't have to be strong today. You don't have to smile when your heart is breaking. You don't have to say, "I'm fine," when you're drowning in silence. You don't have to carry the weight of the world like it's your job to hold everything together. Because sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is fall apart. You are allowed to not be okay. You are allowed to feel lost. To cry for no reason. To miss someone you shouldn't miss. To not know what comes next. This world will try to convince you that you have to be better to be loved. That your sadness is too heavy, your darkness too much, your softness a weakness. But they're wrong. You are not too much. You are not a burden. You are not broken beyond repair. You are human. With wounds that matter. With emotions that are sacred. With a heart that's trying its best to keep beating in a world that sometimes forgets how fragile we all are. So please. If today hurts, let it hurt. If all you did was breathe, that's enough. If you need to rest, rest. You are not lazy. You are healing. The scars no one sees? They're real. The pain that hides behind your smile? It counts. You don't need to prove your worth by pretending you're okay. Sometimes, courage is just getting out of bed. Sometimes, bravery is answering, "How are you?" with honesty instead of politeness. Sometimes, healing is ugly. Messy. Slow. Unseen. But it's still healing. And you are still worthy. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to be productive to matter. You don't have to fix yourself to deserve love. There is nothing wrong with you for feeling deeply. You are not weak for needing time, or space, or tears. You are a soul learning how to live in a body that aches sometimes. That is sacred work. The people who belong in your life will never ask you to shrink your pain just to make them comfortable. The ones who love you for real won't need you to be perfect, they'll just need you to be you. So be soft. Be real. Be raw, even if your voice shakes. It's okay to say, "I'm not okay." Because healing doesn't happen when you hide. It happens when you honor your wounds. When you sit with your pain instead of running from it. When you treat your heart like it matters, because it does. You matter. Even in your sadness. Even in your silence. Even when you feel like a mess. You're not broken. You're becoming. And this season? This slow, aching season that you wish would end? It's building something inside of you. It's making room. It's changing you in ways you can't even see yet. You don't have to rush through it. You don't have to be strong every second. You just have to be honest. Present. Gentle with yourself. One breath at a time. One day at a time. One quiet act of self-love at a time. Because you're not alone. And you're not weak. You're just healing. And that's one of the bravest things a soul can do. Not every healing has to be loud. Some days, healing looks nothing like a sunrise or a breakthrough. It looks like folding laundry with trembling hands. It looks like drinking water after hours of forgetting to. It looks like choosing not to text the person who broke you, even though every cell in your body still misses them. And you know what? That counts too. Not every healing has to be loud. Not every victory comes with fireworks. Not every transformation is a spectacle. Sometimes, healing is invisible. Quiet. Almost unnoticeable to anyone but you. But it's still real. We live in a world that claps the loudest for the most visible progress. The job promotions. The weight loss. The relationships with Instagram captions. The glow-ups that fit neatly into before and after frames. But what about the healing that happens behind the scenes? What about the morning you didn't reach for your phone to numb the ache? What about the time you set a boundary, even though it made your voice shake? What about the night you let yourself cry instead of pushing it all down? No one applauds those moments. But they matter. They are everything. Because healing isn't always graceful. It's not always a pretty story tied with a bow. Sometimes, it's messy, boring, repetitive. It looks like brushing your hair after 3 days of not caring. It looks like making a meal, even when your appetite is gone. It looks like being here, still breathing, still trying, still showing up. You don't have to shout your healing to make it count. Sometimes the quietest growth is the most sacred. And just because it's not seen, doesn't mean it's not happening. The seed doesn't bloom on day one. The caterpillar doesn't explain itself while becoming a butterfly. And you beautiful soul, you don't have to justify your process to anyone. Let your healing be holy in its softness. Let it be small, and slow, and yours. Because the way you carry your pain with gentleness? That's strength. The way you honor your needs, finally, after years of neglecting them? That's progress. The way you forgive yourself over and over and over again? That's growth. No one sees it. But it's changing you. And one day, maybe not tomorrow or next week, but one day, you will look back and realize that you became someone new. Not in one loud moment, but in 1,000 quiet ones. So don't rush it. Don't shame the slowness of your becoming. Don't compare your healing to someone else's highlight reel. There is no timeline. There is no right way. There is only your way. And it's enough. Even if you only moved an inch forward today. Even if you still cry sometimes. Even if you're still learning how to believe in yourself again. You're healing. And that's brave. That's holy. That's worthy. So when the world is loud and fast and demanding, choose quiet. Choose presence. Choose softness. Not every healing has to be loud. Some of the most beautiful recoveries happen in silence. And that's okay. Because you, dear soul, are learning how to bloom in your own time. And that's the kind of miracle no one can ever take away from you. You are a masterpiece, even as you're still becoming. It's okay if you haven't figured it all out yet. It's okay if you're still piecing yourself back together, one fragile moment at a time. You don't need to have all the answers to be worthy of love. You don't need to be perfect to be seen as beautiful. You don't need to be fully healed to be allowed to take up space in this world. Because here's the truth no one tells you loud enough. You can be both a masterpiece and a work in progress at the very same time. Let that sink in. You can be radiant and messy. Broken and strong. Confused and still full of light. You are not required to have your life tied up in a neat little bow in order to deserve peace. You don't need to wait until you're better to believe in yourself. You don't need to earn rest, or love, or grace. You are allowed to have moments when your knees buckle from the weight of everything you carry. You are allowed to cry in the shower and still show up for life the next morning. You are allowed to not know who you are becoming, but trust that something beautiful is blooming, even now. We've been taught to believe that our value lies in our achievements, in our clarity, in our certainty. But your value isn't measured by how well you perform healing. It isn't measured by how put together you appear. It's found in your softness. In your courage to begin again. In the quiet, unnoticed ways you keep choosing life, over and over again. Even on the days when you're not okay. Especially on those days. Because there is power in staying when it would be easier to run. There is bravery in continuing to grow when no one claps for you. There is grace in allowing yourself to be human, flawed, healing, unedited. You are allowed to be both a blooming flower and a fallen leaf. To be both sunrise and storm. To be both raw and radiant. This is what it means to be real. This is what it means to be whole. Your imperfections don't make you less of a masterpiece, they make you more you. They are not stains, they are brushstrokes. Not flaws, but fingerprints of your becoming. You were never meant to arrive there before you could feel worthy here. So stop waiting. Stop holding your breath until you're fixed, finished, flawless. You are allowed to live now, mid-process, mid-healing, mid-chaos. You are worthy of softness, now. You are allowed to feel proud, even if your life doesn't look like the highlight reels. You are allowed to rest in your unfinished beauty. Because your becoming is art, too. And art doesn't rush. So here's your reminder. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are simply becoming. And even here, even now, you are enough. You are a masterpiece, darling. And you are still becoming. Both are true. Both are beautiful. Both are you. Your light is still real, even if they don't see it. You could be the brightest light in the room, and someone will still walk past you like you're invisible. You could pour your heart out, pure and trembling, and someone will still say, "That's not enough." You could bloom with every fiber of your being, and someone will still choose to look away. And it will hurt. Deeply. It's hard not to feel small when someone treats you like you're forgettable. It's hard not to wonder if you're the problem, if you're somehow too much or not enough. But let me tell you something you need to remember. Just because someone cannot see your worth does not mean it isn't there. Their blindness doesn't make your light any less real. Their silence doesn't mean your voice doesn't matter. Their absence doesn't mean you're unlovable. Some people are simply not ready to meet you at the depth of your truth. Some people are afraid of what is real. Some people only know how to love from a distance. Or not at all. And that's not your fault. Your worth was never meant to be held in their hands. You don't need their validation to be valuable. You don't need their applause to keep shining. You don't need to shrink yourself just to fit into someone else's comfort zone. Because here's the truth. Your light is sacred. Your voice is power. Your presence, even when overlooked, still changes the energy of the room. Don't dim yourself just because someone else brought sunglasses. Don't make yourself smaller just to be tolerated. You are not for everyone, and you were never meant to be. You are not here to fit in. You are here to be true. You are here to stand in your light, fiercely, tenderly, unapologetically. The right people will feel your presence like sunlight on their skin. They will recognize you by the warmth in your words, the truth in your eyes, the kindness in your bones. They will not ask you to be less. They will not turn away. And even if they never come, even if it feels like no one sees you, you are still whole. You still matter. You still shine. The tree doesn't stop growing just because no one's watching. The stars don't stop burning just because the sky is cloudy. The flower doesn't close itself because the crowd walked past. So please, keep blooming anyway. Keep speaking your truth even if your voice shakes. Keep loving deeply even if the world has grown cold. Keep showing up with fire in your soul and softness in your hands. Because your light is not here to be approved, it's here to be felt. And even if no one sees it right now, one day, someone will look at you and say, "Thank you for not giving up. I needed your light to find my own." So stay. Shine. Believe in the beauty of your becoming. You are not invisible. You are rare. You are radiant. And you are more than enough even if they never tell you. Your worth doesn't disappear when they walk away. You were enough before they saw you. You were enough while they had you. And you are still enough after they left. Read that again. You don't stop being beautiful just because someone stopped looking at you. You don't stop being worthy just because someone else couldn't hold your heart properly. You don't stop being meaningful just because someone didn't stay. Their inability to love you, honor you, or understand you is a reflection of their limits, not yours. But I know it doesn't always feel that way. When someone we gave our soul to walks away, it feels like they took something with them. Like we're somehow less now. Less lovable. Less special. Less seen. But that's just the echo of their absence speaking, not the truth of your being. Because no one has the power to reduce your worth. Not even the ones you loved the most. Your value is not a currency that can be spent or stolen. It is not fragile. It is not conditional. It is not up for debate. You are not defined by who stays or who leaves. You are not a reflection of someone else's lack of vision. You are whole even when someone else fails to hold you. You are radiant even if they chose the dark. You are enough even if they told you otherwise. Sometimes, the universe removes people from your life because your soul outgrew their hands. Because you were never meant to stay small just to be loved. Some doors close not as punishment, but as protection. Some departures are not rejection, they're redirection. You were never meant to prove your worth to someone who couldn't see it in the first place. You were never meant to beg to be chosen. You were meant to choose yourself. Let that sink in. You were meant to choose yourself. To walk away from anything that asks you to become less of who you are. To rise from the ashes of someone's silence and still believe in your voice. To hold your heart bruised but beating and say, I'm still here. And I still matter. Because you do. You matter in ways they'll never understand. You matter in the quiet strength you carry. In the love you give without expectation. In the truth you speak even when your voice trembles. You matter even if no one says it. Even if no one stays to witness it. You matter simply because you exist. And one day, you will look back at this heartbreak and realize it didn't break you, it revealed you. It cracked open the false ideas you once had to hold on to just to be loved. It shattered the illusion that someone else's recognition was required for your light to shine. Now, you know better. Now, you know that your worth is not in their hands. It never was. So walk forward with your head held high. Not because they finally see your value, but because you do. Because you've decided to stop waiting to be chosen and start becoming the one who chooses. Because you've remembered what they forgot. You are already enough. Not because someone stayed, but because you stayed with yourself. You don't need their apology to heal. You're allowed to heal without hearing I'm sorry. You're allowed to move forward even if they never admit what they did. You're allowed to find peace not because they made it right, but because you decided not to carry the weight of their silence anymore. It's one of the hardest truths to swallow. Sometimes the people who hurt you the most will never say a word. No apology. No explanation. No remorse. Just silence. And that silence can be deafening because part of you still waits. Waits to be validated. Waits to be seen. Waits to hear them say, you didn't deserve that. But healing doesn't wait for closure. Because closure is not something they give you. It's something you create within yourself piece by broken piece. You don't need their apology to be whole. You don't need them to confess in order to forgive. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing what they did. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't break something inside you. It means choosing your freedom over your fury. It means saying, I will not let this wound define the rest of my life. They may never acknowledge how deeply they hurt you. But you can still acknowledge how far you've come despite it. You can still reclaim the parts of yourself they tried to shatter. The trust. The innocence. The hope. You can take back your voice, the one they tried to silence. You can take back your softness, the one they mistook for weakness. You can take back your power, the one they thought they stole. Because here's the truth they'll never say out loud. What they did says everything about them and nothing about your worth. They chose to lie. They chose to leave. They chose to betray, to manipulate, to abandon. But you? You chose to survive. You chose to keep showing up for your life, even when it hurt. You chose to grow from it, even when it would have been easier to stay broken. You became your own healer. Your own comfort. Your own closure. That's not weakness. That's power. That's courage most people will never understand. It's okay if some days you still ache. If some nights you still replay the conversations you'll never have. That doesn't mean you're not healing. It just means you're human. But with every sunrise, you're choosing yourself again. With every breath, you're releasing what was never yours to carry. And with every step, you're writing a story that no longer begins with their name. You don't need their apology. Because your healing was never about them, it was always about you. Your freedom is not tied to their regret. Your peace is not a hostage to their guilt. You can be free. Without permission. Without validation. Without one single word from them. You can be free because you've decided. Your life is worth more than the pain they left behind. So let them stay silent. Let them keep their apologies locked behind their pride. Let them go. And you? You rise. Not because they finally said sorry, but because you finally stopped needing them to. You don't need their apology to heal, because true healing doesn't come from their words, but from your choice to let go. Sometimes, closure doesn't arrive through the front door. It comes in quiet moments, in your decision to no longer suffer for someone else's silence. It comes when you say, I deserve peace, even if they never admit what they did. That is the real victory, not in changing them, but in reclaiming you. The lesson is this: your worth is not dependent on someone else's regret. Your future is not chained to their past mistakes. You have the power to rise without revenge, to grow without bitterness, to thrive without needing justice served on a silver platter. Your healing is sacred. It's personal. And it's yours, no permission needed. Let that be your strength. You're not waiting for an apology. You're creating a life so full of love, joy, and purpose that their absence doesn't echo anymore. You're not broken. You're becoming. And that radiant, unstoppable becoming is the most powerful response of all.